Hello everyone, AmyR here with Prairie Paper and Ink, and this card is for last week's Color Throwdown Challenge. Because of many reasons, I was not able to get my video edited until now, and I had to use this stamp set again. This is the Simon Says Stamp Beautiful Flower stamp set. This was in the June card kit, which did completely sell out, but the stamp set, of course, is still available separately, and I have so many ideas floating in my head for it. So I've got a piece of Canson XL watercolor paper in my travel stamp platform, and I used my anti-static powder tool on that piece, and then I am inking up the stamp with Simon's clear embossing ink, stamping it onto this piece, making sure to press it down really well so I can pick up all of that detail. And then I am going to heat emboss this with Simon's white detail embossing powder. So sprinkling that over the piece, and then tapping off the excess into my coffee filter. And then I'm going to let my heat tool heat up for a little bit. Just turn it on, heat it up for a little bit before bringing it right to the cardstock and melting it. Letting it heat up gets it good and hot so that it melts the embossing powder faster. So getting everything completely melted. And then you can see my little swatches off to the right here. I wanted to use shimmer powders again. I honestly didn't think I would enjoy them as much as I have been. I thought they'd be like, oh, these will be, you know, fun to show in a video. They're kind of gimmicky, whatever. But the more I've been using them, it's like, ooh, I wonder what they would look like if I did this, or I wonder if I can do this. And then, you know, oh, what about these colors together, etc. So I pulled out 3 colors here. I have Atlantis Burst, which is the kind of very light, kind of aqua blue sort of color. And then I mix Green Parade and Solar Flare together. The green is very deep, and the color challenge was like kind of an aqua blue, green, and white. And to get the right shade of green, I realized if I mix the green and the yellow together, it got that more kind of celery green color. So to mix them, I'm literally just like doing the same, just tapping the color onto this paper here. And I've said this before, very lightly, just tap your finger. Do not squeeze these bottles. You will end up with like literally a burst of powder, large piles of it that will get everywhere. Light taps is all you need. So another thing I'm liking about these so much is it really pushes me outside of my control freak tendencies. I have a really hard time I really love the look of just outside the lines, you know, letting the colors run, etc. But that is something that is very difficult, near impossible for me to achieve with, you know, a brush and watercolors. But doing it like this, like just tapping on and then spraying it with water, you know, it looks like a hot mess, but I like it. I get looks with this that I couldn't get any other way. So I sprayed everything with water. And then I picked up some of the excess with some paper towel just because it was pooling, and it does look like a hot mess. I did move around a lot of this with my finger just to really fill in the areas of flowers and whatnot. This will stain your skin, just FYI. My finger is still stained from tabbing it, but that's what I wanted to use rather than a brush, just to kind of move the color around. And then I sped up the heating process with my heat tool just because I'd used a lot of water with this, which also really warped this paper, but I'm okay with that. It's got everything dry, and it still kind of looks a little bit like a hot mess, but once I die cut it and make it into the card, I was so happy with this, just how the colors just, you know, run. There's still the blue colors mostly on the flowers like I wanted, and then the colors just kind of blended and did their own thing. So after everything is completely dry, and sorry, if you hear like rumbling and everything in the background, there's literally a huge thunderstorm coming on, which I love. I love thunderstorms. But I'm trying to get this voiceover edited before the kids wake up and before a thunderstorm hits, and I'm like racing against time here. Okay, so I die cut that panel after everything was completely dry with the largest of the Simon WONKY rectangles dies. And then for the sentiments, I just pulled out a couple of scraps of Simon Says cardstock, and I have AUDREY blue and green apple cardstock here. And I used my anti-static powder tool again. I inked up the sentiments that are from the Beautiful Flower stamp set, and I inked those up with the clear embossing ink. Used the same detail white embossing powder, and then melted these with my heat tool. And then once these are melted, I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to trim these down. And I was going to just cut them into like little sentiment strips, you know, and maybe cut little flag ends. It was just coincidence that when I cut down the happy sentiment, that the strip of cardstock was the exact width of the background panel. That was not my intention. It just happened like that. So I trimmed down that with my paper trimmer. I trimmed down the green cardstock again with my paper trimmer into a little narrower strip, and then ended up using my scissors just to cut a little angled edge on it, just for a little something. So after I got those cut, this is where I saw it was like the Audrey blue piece was the perfect width. So I'm like, oh, I'm not going to cut that down. I'll just leave it as is. So I'm going to flip these over and add some Xyron tape runner adhesive to these, so I can tape these down to my card front. And then once I have those adhered, I had put a generous amount of foam tape all across the back of this before adhering it to my card base, so that the foam tape can like kind of help flatten that piece out, because it was still, even after die cutting, you know, it was still a little bit warped. So got that adhered to my card base. And then to finish off the inside of the card, I pulled out Simon's Audrey blue and green apple ink, so that I could stamp the sentiment with the green apple ink. And then I pulled out 2 of the just individual flowers from the stamp set, and I inked those up with the Audrey blue ink, and then stamped those into the corners of the inside of the card just to finish it off. And then just stamping those flowers in the dye ink, I was like, oh, those look really nice. Now I need to do a card with that. So as a final bit of embellishment, I pulled out some pearls from my stash and very liberally put those onto my card front. Just kind of sprinkled them throughout and added 3 of the larger ones to the sentiment strip there. And then to adhere those into place, I'm using Simon's Craft Tacky Glue and just picking up the pearls with my little jewel picker, putting down a dab of glue, pressing those into place. And that's going to finish off my card here. So it's very difficult to show the shimmer of these because they are shimmer powders. And it's difficult to show on camera, but I'm going to turn the flashlight on my phone so you can actually see it. There's this gorgeous shimmer and a very subtle sparkle throughout the entire background. That sparkle is really hard to show, but you can kind of see it with the flashlight there picking up on camera, but in real life it's just so pretty. Very subtle, but very pretty. So that finished off my card for today. As always, I will have a link below the video to my blog post with links to all the supplies used, so check that out below if you're interested. Thank you all so much for watching and subscribing and thumbs upping and commenting on my videos. I really appreciate it. And I will see you all very soon in the next one. Bye!